Hello everyone, I'm Suzy Chen, the founder of Resilient Leadership Academy, a community that helps people, particularly young people, to better understand concepts such as resilience and self-leadership. We run a series of campaigns that explore various aspects of resilience. Our very first campaign is called The Power of Moving Forward. It features a series of interviews with guests from very diverse backgrounds. And today I'm very excited to share our interview with you, which features Nurain Janah from New Zealand. Nurain currently works as a senior consultant at Ernst Young, New Zealand. As a migrant, she has a personal insight into the barriers that are faced by young migrants and women of color. Her experience has empowered her to pursue her mission, which is to create a more equitable world through storytelling, mentoring, and influencing decision makers through her governance and leadership role. Nurain founded a social enterprise called Authentically, Aotearoa, which empowers women from migrant and ethnic backgrounds to express their authentic self. The social enterprise also works with organizations to create culturally competent and inclusive workplaces. With her talent, passion, and hard work, Nurain is well recognized. In 2017, Nurain represented New Zealand at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, advocating for young women of color in the workplace. Now you can see why I'm so very thrilled to have Nurain doing an interview with us. I don't speak to Nurain as often as I would have hoped to, but every time I do, I always walk away with amazing insights. I hope you do as well with this Power of Moving Forward interview.
Nurain, for joining us today. I'm very, very excited to have you here with us. Not only because I consider you a dear friend, but I also really value your work, especially in the area of advocating for gender equity. So I feel it is, it is a very special moment that we are having this conversation. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. Actually, I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I realized that it was in 2017 today, I think, we met in person for the first time.
Really? I didn't know that.
Might not have been 2017, 2018, at the National Conference for JCI Australia. That was the first time we met in person, but we'd been talking over Messenger and various other ways for so long that when we met, it didn't feel like it was the first time.
Now, I don't know about you, but I personally really resonate with the name of our campaign. In the context of resilience, I find having the ability to move forward, even just with small steps, is really helpful. So, what are your thoughts on this? This concept of being able to move forward. Yeah.
I think it absolutely really resonates with me. I think especially this year, it must resonate with so many people. I think the idea of moving forward, especially with those small steps, is really important. And I think about resilience as having your cup full, or I'll use a Maldivian proverb which says, "What is full will not shake." And that's thinking about if you have your cup full, then you don't get shaken by events, or even, if you think about confidence or knowing yourself, if you have that cup full, then you don't shake. And so you have a lot more resilience and strength to keep doing what you need to do.
I really like that. I really like that. Kafu. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it, because resilience can be, quite elusive concept. I really like that analogy. There are two core questions that we really hope to examine throughout this particular campaign, and I really would love to hear your insights on these two questions. The very first one is, how can we remain hopeful in the face of vast challenges?
Such an interesting question this year. It's a question that I really had to ask myself quite, people always ask me that, you always think about glass half full, let's think optimistically. But really, that question really confronted me after the Christchurch shootings last year, because I didn't feel very hopeful. I felt really quite shaken. I felt like our community was shaken. And then with everything that's happened in 2020, I think when I think about remaining hopeful, it's about the connections that we have and the people that we surround ourselves with, and really knowing that those connections can, if you're enriching those connections, it gives you a real purpose, and it gives you real strength to be creating a world together. And then at the same time, if you can keep in your mind that really bigger picture of whatever your purpose is, whatever you're working towards, and keep that bigger picture in mind, and not get caught up in the weeds of, oh, this thing didn't go very well today, or I had, I tried this thing and it failed today. It's really about what is the bigger picture goal, and is it bigger than me or you, and having that bigger picture. So I guess remaining hopeful for me is about the connections and the people and community that I surround myself with. And then secondly, having that bigger picture in mind.
Such a good answer. I think it is very much about developing perspective, right? Just like you said, it's about looking forward, to look at the big picture, but at the same time also connecting with others and lifting each other up.
Yes.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
Very good. Yeah. Okay, so next question I have for you is, it's very easy to to gloss over okay, other people's struggle, right?
Yeah.
So how can we stay focused positively without glossing over or minimizing other people's struggle? Because not everybody is affected by challenging situation equally. So how can we show our compassion and empathy? Yeah.
Again, I'm kind of going on a theme of 2 points for all of your answers. I think the first thing for me, and I'll plug my nonprofit, which is Authenticity. And the reason I called my nonprofit Authenticity Aotearoa is because authenticity is one of my top values, and it's how I try to show up all the time. And obviously, you change your professionalism, whether you're being authentic with your friends and being silly, or you're in a client meeting and you're being authentic but professional. You can change your tone, but you can always keep really true to yourself. And so when we're trying to, move forward and be resilient and show strength, I think that we can do that really authentically. And I feel like we think about positivity, we think about the really, that image that's very positive on, the Instagram stories about just living your best life, I guess, and showing that side of things. But I think there is so much strength and resilience and courage involved in being really authentic and showing up and saying, I'm struggling today, and it's not the most positive, but then also sharing that, yes, I'm struggling today, but here's what I'm doing to move forward, or I'm struggling today, I need some help. And that creates positivity, but it's not the kind of positivity that we might traditionally think about.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And then the second piece, which is around minimizing the struggle of others, I think, each of our struggles is very unique and individual, and how we feel it is different depending on how we've grown up, or our values, and how we deal with things. It's very individual and different. What I will say is that I think the best thing we can do is to not compare struggles, because pain for one person might look like it's more than the other person if you were to try and objectively assess those things. But how you feel the pain might be of equal magnitudes. Right. And I hope that is making sense, because I think it's a really, really important thing, especially when we think about discrimination as well. And that's something that I speak about, is that, something that's little for one person, say it's a microaggression or just a passing comment, might actually be quite painful for the other person because of their journey, and maybe they've had vast microaggressions all day or all their life, and the other person has just dealt with it differently. That doesn't mean that the action isn't the same, or that doesn't mean that you somehow say, oh, that person didn't get hurt by this, but this person did, and so one person's pain is less than the other. So it's really about making sure that when someone says that they're hurt or struggling, really honoring that and accepting that wholeheartedly, and not trying to judge their pain by what our journey has been, or their struggle by what we've done, because we never know what the true story or narrative is.
Yeah. That's so important, and I really do like how you put it. There's no need to compare.
Yeah.
I mean, I think nowadays we try to compare everything.
Yes.
Yeah, anything and everything. Yeah, and I remember also reading something about, just because you feel positive doesn't mean that you feel good all the time. Yeah. So that there's there's a difference between feeling positive and feeling, always feel good. Yeah. So yeah, that's really good. Well, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for such a, I guess, an honest answer. Yeah. And I hope that people do I guess do resonate with that. Yeah. Okay, I got a few more questions for you.
Sure,
and
go
these
for it.
are particularly fun ones. Okay. So the first one is, if you had an opportunity to dine with someone who is influential, who would that person be?
Ooh, tricky question.
Yeah, who would come to your dinner party?
Who would come to my dinner party? I can think of so many people, but I will pick a woman who is still in the world today, so it is a possible dinner. Maybe.
Yeah, let that
someone make it happen. I'm putting it out into the universe. I would absolutely love to have dinner with Michelle Obama. She's a real inspiration. If you haven't read her book, read it. It's not like your typical nonfiction books. It's a real story, and there is just so much in it that's resonated with me.
So what will you be speaking to her about at dinner?
There's just so much richness to her story, and I love the way that she's narrated her story and her journey as well. Because I think any woman, but particularly any woman of color or a different minority background, can really resonate to her stories and coming out of each of those points in life with a real lesson. So I'd really love to talk to her about that. But also equally, I think there's so much in the book that she's obviously condensed over, and so I'd really love to ask her the harder questions that maybe she might not want to say in public, I guess, and those kind of questions about actually how has it been really, really, truly difficult. How do you deal with difficult people? I'm not sure if anyone's heard her speech at the Democratic National Convention, but she was being quite courageous, but also quite diplomatic. So I'd really love to have her non-public, non-diplomatic take on things. So that's why that's what I'd love to talk to her about. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a very interesting conversation? Yes. I hope that I do get invited when she comes over.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Yes, it's gonna happen. We're putting it out there. Yeah. Wonderful.
Positivity.
Yes, indeed. Well, Nurain, I can't thank you enough for spending your time with us today. And I really look forward to having more engaging conversations with you in the near future.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me.